Hello and welcome to story number 6. Now, ex-pupils who are watching, and I know there are many of you, you will have heard me talking about India quite a lot in the classroom. Some of you were sick hearing about it, I'm sure, because it seemed to lend itself to so many different topics. But what you won't know is why I went in the first place each of those times. And even some of my friends won't know that, which is really why I'm going on here to share these wee short videos with you. So, behind the scenes for a lot of us who are trying to walk with God, there is often a conversation going on, and there's often a lot of listening happening that, of course, because it's so personal and private, even our friends and our family haven't a clue that all of that has actually been happening. So I hope that you're beginning to get that, if you have been following me and the previous videos, that actually very often behind certainly bigger decisions in my life, I have been trying to run those things past God. So this story is going to be in 2 parts because it's quite long, and this is part 1. And it really concerns whether or not I was to go to Jamaica the following summer, so 1996. So I'm just calling it really, to go or not to go. So I'd had a thought, and it was because I knew a couple who were out in Jamaica, and I thought maybe, just maybe, I could go out there and do something with them in their orphanage that particular summer. At least see it, if not help out on it. So first of all, I thought, well, I'm not going to go on my own, and I'll ask a friend. So I asked a friend, and she said, yes, I'd be happy to go with you, Barb. So I thought, right, that's a good start, that's good. But then, of course, remembering what had happened the summer before and how God had actually been directing me as to where I was going to go in the summer, I started to think, I maybe need to start to pray about this and just check in with God that it is sort of where He's wanting me to go. So I said, okay, God, look, happy to hear from you about this. I wrote a letter off to the couple in Jamaica, and in those days it was airmail, so it was going to take a while, and I hadn't heard back from them yet. But in the meantime, of course, I've been telling a few people that I was thinking about going there in the summer, and 2 very significant things happened. First one was that a friend of mine had just come back from her honeymoon, and she said, Barbara, it's a really dangerous island. I wouldn't advise you to go, especially not if you're backpacking. We spent a fortnight there, and we were advised strongly not to leave the hotel complex. So I thought, oh goodness me, I don't want to end up in danger. A friend's mum then phoned me, and she is Jamaican, and she said, Barbara, here you're thinking about going to Jamaica. I'm just back. I would not advise you to go to Jamaica at all. She said, it's actually very, very scary. And folks, her words were ringing in my ears, because she said, don't go, you'll come home in a box. So you can imagine. And I know for some of you who are watching this from other parts of the world, you're probably be thinking, well, Northern Ireland people are well used to this sort of stuff. But quite honestly, folks, I wasn't. And I did not fancy any of that at all in my summer holiday. So I began to think, wow, here's 2 very, very negative things. I have to take these seriously. People are giving me this information for a reason. So I said, God, right, what to do, really? I'm just waiting, because for a few days I hadn't a clue how to, react to those 2 pieces of advice. And then maybe a week or 10 days later, a reply came back from Jamaica, and it was, wow, Barbara, that would be great. We would really look forward to seeing you. By all means, come and stay with us for 4 or 5 days, whatever, and we'll show you around some of the places that we work in and that we live near. Great. And I thought, well, really and truly, this place can't be that bad. This couple live in Northern Ireland. They know me. They would know I wouldn't want to end up in danger. They wouldn't put that on me. So I started to think, people are maybe exaggerating it, or maybe that woman was talking about Kingston, because as I was researching, it seemed very clear to me that Kingston was pretty scary and dodgy. there were drug things going on and gang warfare, and it did seem like a place to avoid. Later on, in story number 2, I'll tell you something that happened in that area, and it was scary. It scared us a lot, actually. But that will be in story number 2. So, folks, what happened next then was that I said to God, now I've got this positive message and 2 negatives, really. What am I to do? I would like a bit more confirmation, God, before I just finally say yes and then book the tickets. So I had this phone call, and I think the very next day I had another phone call. But anyhow, the first phone call was from a friend of my mum's who said to me, Barbara, I think you should read Psalm 91. I got the Bible out that night and I read it, and I thought, wow, what a beautiful psalm. And it was really entitled God's Protection. So I started to think, wow, this is good. And I thought, God is actually saying here, he's going to be with us and look out for us. And even there was mention of angels and stuff in this, and I thought he's even going to have angels perhaps out for our protection. So maybe I need to chill and accept that this is fine. I read that psalm a lot, and then I think it was either the next day or the next, a friend from Anna phoned, and she gave me, folks, the very, very same psalm. And I said, I hardly even need to look it up because I'd read it so many times since the few days earlier. And she said, well, look, that's very significant when God shows up like that twice in quick succession. That's a very important thing for you. So, take it seriously. So I thanked her and read it again and again. And then at that point, I felt I'd had enough confirmation and that we should go. So I did tell my friend about the negatives, but then I said about Psalm 91 as well. And we ended up, folks, having a good summer, having a safe summer. But there were moments in it, which I will tell you about in part 2, that were hairy and scary enough, especially in and around Kingston. But I'll quit now and continue in another wee video. Till then, bye-bye. So I'm giving you some photos here to end with, just of our accommodation. This is me in a sleeping sheet with the washing line above my head. And this is Val having a search for something in the pretty messy looking bedroom. This is me swinging from a vine. We spent most of the day in that place and loved it. And this looks like far too high a waterfall for me to be jumping off. And that's the two of us having a well-deserved rest.